Hey guys, how are you doing? It's Catherine, and I hope that today's video may be one of the most exciting videos I've ever made. It is about Midjourney, which I believe is the best AI art tool on the market by far. It can create anything from illustrations to absolutely realistic photographs, and it makes some beautiful, beautiful pictures. But what I am really excited about right now are the new editor and retexturing tools. And I think these came out about 2 weeks ago. And every day I have been trying these out, trying different ideas, and finding more and more ways to use these in ways that absolutely blow my mind. There are so many use cases for these tools, especially the retexturing tool. And I think you're going to love these. Whether you are working in social media, whether you're creating products, books, merch, planners, printables, or whether maybe you're just creating art for fun or to sell, like wall art and posters, I think there will be something in this for you. And I think there may even be some business ideas, like complete business ideas in this video. So I'm really hoping you will sit back, enjoy this video, maybe take some notes, because I'm trying to share as many ideas as I can over the next however long it takes. And before I do that, I have a couple of quick announcements. We are having a Black Friday sale on Imagine. So what we are doing, we are giving you $50 off the price of Imagine. So all you have to do is add the code Black Friday at checkout. Imagine does include tangent templates, but if you already have that, you can just uncheck the box at checkout to remove that and just buy Imagine standalone. But Imagine is a huge bundle of goodies. Primarily, I created it for coloring books, so it is full of tutorials about how to choose a niche, how to come up with ideas for your coloring books. It has interviews with successful coloring book creators, including Sasha O'Hara, who made from her coloring books, and Jordan Colton, the horror coloring expert. Plus, there are marketing tips from Laurie Colwell, who is a publishing expert, and Sarah Flockin, the PR expert. Not only that, I have just added 2 more tutorials to Imagine. They're both about half an hour long. The first tutorial focuses on using the retexturing tool for coloring books. You can create coloring pages from any image now. It's absolutely mind-blowing. We used to have to use Photoshop filters and they didn't look that good. Midjourney can now create a coloring page from any image, and it's pretty incredible how it works. So I've just added a tutorial about that to Imagine, and I've added a second tutorial which is about creating kawaii coloring pages. And what I've done, I have made a custom GPT that you can use with ChatGPT. So you can use that to create your kawaii pages and then work with them in Midjourney. So there are 2 new tutorials in Imagine, brand new for the new Midjourney tools, which have just come out. So we're keeping this course so up to date. And you will get access to all my GPTs. There's 3 GPTs now in the course. So there's the new one for kawaii pages. There's a coloring idea generator, and there's also my icon GPT, which will allow you to create amazing clip art. And I have some other videos that talk more about creating clip art. I have one on this channel called Infinite Clip Art. And if you want to know more about how you can work in Imagine to create clip art, it's all in that video. Imagine also includes Tangent Crystal, which is our exclusive software for taking all the grays out of a coloring book picture or out of clip art. So you can make really clean line art, monochrome clip art with this, and you can create beautiful coloring book pages with no gray, no shading. You can take your pictures from ChatGPT, from Midjourney, or from any other AI tool and run them through Crystal to take all the gray out. Crystal also vectorizes your images, so you can work with them in tangent templates to add more thickness to the lines, to add sketch effects, to colorize them. So it's a really, really powerful tool. And if you watch the other videos on my channel, you can really get a feel for how Tangent Crystal works. And there's so many other goodies in there. There's like a book of 90 style references for children's books. There's a prompt catalog with hundreds of prompt ideas. There's a research pack with ideas for coloring books selling on Etsy. Much, much more. I hope you'll check that out. I won't be talking much about coloring books in this video because I've been putting all of that into the tutorials for Imagine. But I can tell you that the retexturing and editing tools are incredible for coloring books. You can take any picture you have. It doesn't have to be a Midjourney generated image. You can take any image you have, convert it into a coloring page. Even more exciting than that, you can take a coloring page and actually color it in and create a cover for your coloring book with this. So you don't need any other tools to create a coloring book cover. You can just give it one of your coloring pages and work with Midjourney to create a beautiful cover. It really is a very flexible and very awesome tool to use. So let's get started. And I want to take you back to the late 80s when little Catherine loved playing adventure games. And in particular, a favorite adventure game that I used to play was called Jinxter. And it was an adventure game set in the English countryside with a sort of mystical vibe to it. And this picture here is a screenshot from Jinxter. It is a picture of my friend Zam's house. And back in the day, I thought this was a beautiful, evocative image that really captured my imagination. I always thought about going to visit my friend Zam and seeing what it looked like in his little cottage. And I thought this was a great image. It has not dated so well. When I look at it now, I'm like, ooh, this is a very old-looking pixely image. But Midjourney can bring this completely up to date. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut out the little cottage here. So I'm just going to cut out this portion. And I'm going to go across to Midjourney. So this is the new editor tool in Midjourney, and I'm going to walk you through it in a moment. But first, I just want to show you this because it is so cool. So you have two tools in the editor. You have the edit and you have retexture. So we're going to use retexture with this. So I'm going to put a prompt in. Let's do showcase real estate photograph featuring an English cottage with a thatched roof, sweeping driveway, lush lawn, and a beautiful flower garden. Let's see what this gives us. I'm going to hit enter a couple of times just so it gives us a few options. So by default, Midjourney will generate 4 images at a time. But if you want more, you can just hit enter and get 4 more. There it is. Look at that, guys. That's just the first image, but it has generated... Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? It has generated a whole bunch of photographs of thatched cottages. And all of this, look at that picture. All of this from this pixelated image from 1980 something. Absolutely incredible. They all look so good. Look, you've even got a little airplane trail in the sky. Wow. Like, can you imagine if that was your friend's house, you could go and visit it? Like, now I want to go through that game, Jinxter, take all the pictures from it and retexture them and create photographs. Because this is a world I dreamt of when I was little and I would play the game. And now I can look at actual photographs and imagine what this house looks like in real life. And you can see it's just created, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16 images in just a few seconds. So let's take another example. Here is a picture of Mickey Mouse from the 1920s in Steamboat Willie. And we can bring this image right up to date. Let's prompt. We'll do Mickey Mouse driving a boat on a stormy day, Pixar style, brightly colored scene. Oh, I've got to be in the retexture mode. Let me switch over. There we go. Let's try that. And let's try some other ideas. Street art, graffiti style, spray paint, classic oil painting, heavy brush strokes. There we go. This is the Pixar style. It's given it a really fun background. Again, as a reminder, this is the original image. And then this version is the graffiti street art style. This one, definitely, look at the graffiti there. It's kind of a fun image. It looks like something that would have been painted on a wall. And then these are an oil painting style. And it really gives it some texture there. You can take any image and it will keep the structure of the image while adding all kinds of details. And if there's something you don't like in an image, like for example, he's got an extra button on his pants, you can just jump over to the editor tool and click erase. And we can bring the brush size down a little bit more. And then we can just edit out that extra button right there. And so if I say submit edit, it should come back with no button in there. So there we go. It's given us a few different versions. Some of them have put the button back in. That one has taken it out. So it gives you 4 images at a time. If you don't get quite what you're looking for, you can just run it again and you can edit any part of the image. So if you like this Mickey, but you don't like the background, you can use the editor tool and use the brushes to just remove all of that and then fill it in with something else. So we're going to look at that as we work through this in the video. Here's another way you can use the editor tool. So I have this picture of this girl wearing a very pretty black dress. But if we think that looks a little boring, we can edit out the dress and we can replace it colorful 1960s style floral dress. And there we go. A whole bunch of variations of different dresses. And how pretty are these? So you can add more detail to this. You can specify the color of the dress. I like this one very much with the belt. Some really, really cute dresses there. So we're working with 2 different tools. The editor allows you to select portions of the image. And what it will do is just change the parts that you edit. So if I select the dress, the only part of the image that will be changed is this grey checkered part. Her face will remain unchanged. So that's the editor tool. It has erase and then it has restore if you didn't mean to delete something. You also have a resizing tool, and we're going to look at that in a moment. Now, the retexture tool will change the style of the entire image. So if you want to change this picture into a cartoon, for example, if you want to change it into an illustration, you can do that using retexture. You can also change an illustration into a photograph or into another type of illustration. For example, here is a sketch that ChatGPT generated for me of a giant cat on a couch. And I think if it was a photograph, it would get everyone's attention because people would be like, wow, look at that giant cat. How do you do this? Let's give it a try. Let's see. High definition lifestyle magazine photograph. Well lit. Featuring a beautiful giant cat sitting on a couch. There is a modern art picture on the wall and great lighting from the large window on the right. Okay, let's take a look at this. Here we go. There are several variations. And so I did specify well lit and lighting coming from the large window on the right. And we definitely got that. So there's lots of different styles here. We can create different versions of this. So we can say at nighttime. We can also change the cat. We can say beautiful giant white fluffy cat. Okay, so there's the nighttime picture. And absolutely it looks like nighttime. You can see there's the lamp there. The lamp's even switched on. Wow. That is definitely a very big cat. And if you want to change something, you can just jump over to the editor tab. And of course, you can just change this picture, for example, photograph of a brightly lit mansion. And hopefully that will change what is in the art picture. Oh, there is the fluffy white cat. So it did really well with the prompt. It adhered to that. A beautiful giant fluffy white cat. Like, these look pretty realistic to me. All of this just from that picture. So you take an illustration, you give it to Midjourney, and wow, look at that. Isn't that a gorgeous picture right there? And there we go. The editor has put a mansion in that picture up there. That one, it sort of ignored the prompt and put a cat in, but still, I think that one looks pretty good. And if you're not 100% happy with the results, edit whatever you want to edit. If you don't like that thing, if you don't like that thing, if you don't like the plant, you can go through and just run it again and edit anything that doesn't make sense. So what I find I do is I jump between the retexture tool and the editor tool quite a lot when I'm doing this. Now, let's imagine you were working with an architect or a real estate agent. This is a picture. I actually generated it with Midjourney, but it looks like half of the buildings that are around me in San Diego. Let's see, I'm going to do high definition lifestyle magazine photograph of a modern office building pictured at sunset with beautiful lighting. Let's do one at sunrise. Let's do one in the evening, late night. And I'm going to say with street lighting. Okay, so this was our original image. And check it out. This is sunset. Doesn't that look amazing? And it has kept all the important details of this building right there. There's the tree still in front of it, and all the stripes are in the right place. Looks absolutely amazing. This is sunrise. So this is early in the morning, what that building might look like. Different lighting. That's pretty cool. I like the lights on in there. And then this is in the evening with beautiful lighting. So you can see the lights are on in the lobby there. Wow, I like this one. So I specified here with street lighting, different times of day, different types of lighting, different effects. You can even do something like this. Architectural illustration of modern office building. And there we go. This gives you kind of a digital effect. I think what I'm really going for is a sketch. So I'm going to try architectural sketch pencil illustration of modern office building. Wow, that looks pretty great to me. So we went from this original image, we created like this sunset, and then we even created these architectural drawings, and it looks fantastic. And you can use this to flesh out your own pictures. If you like to draw, you can even do it with your children's sketches and turn them into characters and cartoons. So I'm going to take this image here, and all this was pencil sketch of a superheroine. And I'm going to go to my editor. And if you don't see your editor tool here under more, just go to more options and make sure more options is selected. You see how that takes the editor option away? Just make sure that's selected, and then you can click on editor. And you want to make sure you go to the full editor, because that's just the basic one for making quick fixes. If you want to do retexturing, you need to be in the full editor. So I'm going to go back to retexture, and with this image, I'm going to say photograph of a superheroine cinematic action shot from big budget movie. She has blonde hair, a gold star on her chest, and a beautiful cape. Absolutely stunning, right? Isn't that cool? Look at the gold detail on that as well. So we've taken this image. I think that looks pretty amazing. So we've gone from that to that. So let me give you a couple of notes before we go too much further with this. Midjourney will change faces when you retexture an image. So if you retexture an image of a person, it will change the face. I'm sorry, it will not retain the same face. So as you can see, we don't get this exact facial expression. It looks like a different person in each picture. This is deliberate. Midjourney does this to, I assume, avoid deep fakes or people doing anything naughty with images of real people. However, there are a couple of workarounds, and I'm going to get to those in a few moments. So let me give you a couple of notes at this point that I think might be helpful. The first is that this is a very new tool for Midjourney. I think it's been out for less than 2 weeks. And one thing I've noticed with Midjourney is that when they make an update, they tend to have quite strict guardrails on it to make sure that people aren't getting offensive images back. This means that they're looking out for anything that could be interpreted as sexual or gory or violent in some way. For example, someone in one of our groups was having a hard time generating the head of a mythological creature, and I think it was because their prompt was being misinterpreted as being for like a headless, gory picture. So just look out for things like that. If you start getting warnings, maybe take a look at your prompt and say, well, is there anything here that could be misconstrued? For example, another thing I found was that if I used the word curvy, that was hitting some issues, whereas using plus size didn't get a warning. Now, I strongly suspect that this is going to smooth out, and I'm already noticing it becoming a lot more relaxed with prompting, and I'm sure it will get better with time. So if you get a warning, don't worry too much. Just try rephrasing it. Now, the other note I wanted to give you right now is about faces. And what you will notice with Midjourney is if you give it a picture of a person and try to retexture it, it will change the person's face into a different person. This is by design. I believe Midjourney do it to avoid deep fakes or people doing anything unpleasant with someone's image. But I do have a couple of workarounds for this, and I will show you those in a moment. But first, I want to talk a little bit about low content and printables, because there are many, many things you can do in this realm with Midjourney. So one thing that I've noticed is very popular at the moment on Etsy or on other websites is crystal grids. And what people like to do is take a grid like this, and it could be on a mat, or it could be in the pages of a book, or it could be a printed board. It's usually a mat. And then they will put the crystals at specific places on the grid. It's kind of a ritual that helps you amplify the power of your crystals, your quartz, whatever it is that you're using with the crystal grid. So what I have noticed is you can create some incredible crystal grids with Midjourney. If you visit Wikipedia, for example, and look up sacred geometry, you can find some great designs like this. I think this is called the Flower of Life, but I'm going to take this one and I'm going to show you how you can turn this simple black and white image, and you can literally screenshot this from Wikipedia, but do make sure it's public domain. Every image that you retexture, I would not use anything that is copyright, because if it's in any way recognizable still, that is a copyright infringement. So do use public domain pictures for this, or use your own images, or generate the images yourself through Midjourney or through another tool. So I'm going to take this sacred geometry design and I'm going to prompt crystal grid, glowing magical light design on a beautiful mystical background. Oh, I got to switch across to retexture. And I'm going to try a couple of different things. Let's say a galaxy background, glowing magical white light design. Let's try a neon design. Okay, so it has started generating some crystal grids for us. So let's take a look at these. Wow, look at that. This looks fantastic. So you can see the prompt there. And those definitely seem very energetically charged to me, especially if you're into sort of fire symbolism. That looks stunning. This is on a beautiful galaxy background with glowing magical white light, and you can specify the colors. If we like this, we could say on a galaxy background with purple and turquoise colors. Purple, and in fact, let's just do that and we can run that. That one is gorgeous. So you can really make a whole book full of these variations in a very short period of time. They really are stunning. Wow, look at that. I love that. That is with the purple and turquoise colors. So you could pick 10 of these right now and sell those as a pack on Etsy as sacred geometry images for crystal grids. You could put them in a book on KDP. You could print them yourself on mats and sell them at a fair or at a mystical magic event. There are so many ways you could monetize something like this, and it looks absolutely stunning. So what this tool does, what Retexture does, is it takes the structure of an image and then it can change everything else. And it explains that here. It says it will change the contents of the input image while trying to preserve the original structure. So when you have an image with really high contrast like this, it works really, really well for this. So I'm going to try this with a map of the world. So this is kind of a boring map. I got it from Wikipedia. It's a public domain map. And I want to turn it into something more interesting. Beautiful centerpiece map of the world. And it's always a good idea to describe the gist of what is in your image when you're retexturing. I have found that helps a little bit. And if you're struggling to describe an image, you have this tool here on the Edit tab called Suggest Prompt. And there you go. You can see that actually describes it in a bit too much detail for me. So actually all I really want to say is map of the world. The rest we're going to change. So let's say beautiful, decorative map of the world. Suitable for display. Vintage parchment. We could say cartoon map for kids. Mystical style. Treasure map for pirates on burnt paper. There we go. That's a few different ideas. Let's see. They've started generating already. I love that. That looks really cool. And if you don't like these corners, we can change these. We can just go back to the editor. And if you want to put something in the corners, you can just edit those out. Oh, so this is the mystical style. It looks kind of cloudy and textured. That looks awesome. I really like that one. And that looks pretty cool as well. So imagine if you play Dungeons and Dragons or you're creating a role-playing game. You can create your own map. You can just hand draw it and then put it into this tool and get it to flesh it out, colorize it, add effects to it. Oh, this is the treasure map for pirates on burnt paper. And remember, you can upscale these images. So if you find one that you really like and you want to use, you can go upscale to gallery and that will add an upscaled version of this to your Midjourney gallery that you can then grab and use in your books. And upscaling will add a bit more detail to it and make it more suitable for print. And usually upscaling with Midjourney is all you need for books. If you're creating wall art or posters, in that case, I recommend investing in a good upscaler. So the one I like to use is Topaz Gigapixel. It is the best one on the market. It's the industry standard, but it's not the cheapest. There are also some free upscalers. One is Upscaly, and I think Big JPEG is another one. But if you're creating big images like wall art, I would definitely consider Topaz. It's not just blowing up the image and making it big. It's actually adding a lot of detail to the image, so it looks way, way better when you make it really big. So we talked about making game maps with this. You can even use it to create board games. So for example, I have this really old picture here of one of the original designs for Monopoly. And I'm just going to take this board and I'm going to go across and add this into Midjourney here. Let's see, I'm going to do Monopoly board with pink romantic theme. Actually, let's add some more to this. Vintage style with poodles, Parisienne. I'm going to run that a couple of times. Oh, Blade Runner, science fiction, cyber theme. New York landscape background, cityscape. Okay, so let's have a look at these. And this is really cute. It's kept the main Monopoly text in the middle, but you can see it doesn't do very well with smaller text. But what I would use this for is more prototyping and getting ideas. So these were the pastel pink Parisian. I love this. Isn't this beautiful with the landscape there and the flowers? So I would use this more for prototyping and getting the overall feel of what the board would look like. And then what you can do is, for example, work on these little rectangles and maybe create these separately and then put it all together. If you're working on your own board game, for example. Oh my gosh, I love this. This is the cyberpunk version. So you could create your own cyberpunk game using Midjourney. That would be so cool to create the board, to create all the pieces. And there are a whole bunch of websites where you can go and get cards printed, you can get boards printed, dice printed. You could prototype a really good board game with this. I know you could get a Kickstarter going and get people to invest in you. So considering this just takes a few seconds to generate, you can get some really great ideas from this and then build on them. So Midjourney hasn't perfected text yet, but it is getting there. So I wanted to show you this example that I did a little bit earlier today. And this is a photograph that I generated of a taxi in New York City. And you can see there's a few issues here. Like, for example, it says Offie on the top. It doesn't say taxi. And the license plate looks a little strange. So I prompted for a comic book scene and it gave me several variations. And in my prompt, I said paper texture and halftone dots. So halftone is the word for the little dot effect that you tend to see in old-fashioned comic books. So I particularly like this image. And what I did, I edited the top part, the little sign on the top. And all I did was I put taxi in quotes. And if we look at what it created, yeah, it actually put the word taxi on there. Perfect. So I picked one that I liked, which was that one there. And then I did the same thing with the license plate. And I just put DRVE because I thought that was kind of a fun thing to have on your license plate. So 2 of the DRVE came out the way I asked for. And then I said driver behind the windshield. And initially, it refused to put a driver behind the windshield. It said the prompt was inappropriate. And I wonder, again, if that goes into the whole gore thing and whether a driver behind windshield seemed to evoke some kind of like car crash kind of situation. But eventually, it did it for me. I said driver looking through the windshield. I changed it to driver looking through the windshield. And there we go. Now we have a driver in our taxi. So you can see it's kind of an iterative process. I started out with the photograph. We got the comic book. We went from the comic book to the taxi sign. Then we changed the license plate. And then finally we added in our driver. And all from that original image. So you really have artistic control over your images. And you can jump between edit and retexture until you end up with the result that you want in your images. So here's another quick example, talking of board games, card games. I created this tarot card in ChatGPT, and you'll notice it kind of got chopped off. No worries, I'm going to put that into Midjourney. So I'm going to upload this tarot card image, and the way I do that is I just click Edit Uploaded Image and bring in my DALL-E design there. And one note I will say about ChatGPT is it started saving images as WebP formats. It seems like Midjourney can handle those now. If you ever have a problem with WebP, you can actually just screenshot the image or you can convert it to a PNG. There's lots of free online converters to do that. So here is our image in Midjourney. And first what we're going to do is edit this and make sure that it is the right size and shape to be a tarot card. And you can see the problem here. It is a square image and has chopped off the top and bottom. Oh no! But this is where we can use the power of Midjourney to fill in for ChatGPT. So something very nice about ChatGPT is prompt adherence. If you specify particular things you want to see in an image, it will do its best to replicate them. So using ChatGPT with Midjourney can be the best of both worlds, but it's not very precise. It has a tendency to chop things off and it is a bit blurry. So we can do some fixing with this with Midjourney. So you can see this is a square image, which is a bit of a problem, and it's chopped off the top and the bottom. So what we can do is change the aspect ratio to portrait, and then we can now move this around the canvas. Make sure you have Move Resize selected, and then we can position this in the middle of our canvas like that. And hopefully what this will do is fill in the top and the bottom of the image. You can also resize things really small if you want to fill in all this detail around here. But for this image, that doesn't really make sense. So we're just going to put it in the middle and hopefully it will fill in the top and bottom. I'm just going to prompt tarot card of the Fool. Perfect. So you can see what it's done here. It's filled out the Fool at the bottom. So you can see how that was cut off. It has now filled that out. It's added some weird text at the top. We could easily edit that out. but I don't think we need to because I actually love this. So I haven't even looked at all the variations yet, and I already see some that I like. So we could also edit again here to try and get the full at the top if you want, but it's down there, so I don't think we need it. That, I think, is a beautiful design. It's really, really cool. There's a few issues with the image, like I don't know what that DN is. We could easily edit that out. So we just go erase. That looks great. So we've done our basic edits to this. We have the structure of the tarot card that we want. So now what we can do is hop over to Retexture and change how this card looks and add some colors to it. So I'm going to say colorful tarot card featuring the Fool and his happy yellow dog. The sunshine is red and gold and the sky is blue. The frame features beautiful flowers in bright jewel colors. So let's see how this looks. We can add more things like vintage style, or we can say contemporary glossy style, sparkling colors. Okay, so it's lost the Fool at the bottom. It's lost that text at the bottom, but that's no biggie. We can fix that. I like that one. That's rather fun. And you can keep experimenting until you get really exactly what you want. We have contemporary glossy style. That's very colorful. One thing you can do, I'm not going to spend too much time on this right now, but one thing you can do, if you really like a particular image, of course you can edit it and fix it. So we lost the sun's face there, so we could just edit that and say happy sunshine. You know the drill. We can go in and fix all these things, and we can put the text back that says the Fool. So we can make those edits. But also what you can do is download these images, and then if we were going to make a whole set of tarot cards, we can actually use this as a style reference. So the way that works is we just upload it to our Midjourney, and then you have three options here. That's the character reference, that's the style reference, and that's the image reference. So we would choose style reference, and then we could create another tarot card featuring the priestess, and we use that as a style reference. So now you can start creating a whole deck of cards that features the same colors and the same styling. But Midjourney is fantastic for giving you the ability to add different styles, different character references, and different image references. And you can actually use multiple image and style references to make the influence of that image stronger. And you can also add weighting to it as well. These are things I go into in Imagine, where we talk about style references, character references, and image references. But the overall goal is that you end up with consistent images. So if you were creating a deck of tarot cards, you would want to use a lot of style weighting so that all your cards had similar colors and similar styles, so they look like a cohesive deck. So I talked about how you could create businesses based on this editor. And another really fun thing you can do is take old photographs and bring those to life. So for example, these horses, this is an old picture from 1920s with these old carousel horses. So let's see what Midjourney can do with this. And when you upload your image, you have two choices. You can either edit your uploaded image. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to just bring the image into Midjourney. And you can also edit directly from a URL as well. So I'm going to retexture this carousel image, and I'm going to say carousel, horses, colorful fairground, photograph, dynamic image, bright fairground, lights at night. Horses are all different colors, beautiful faces. Let's see how this works. So there we go. It has really brought those really kind of sad old fairground horses to life. And look at these beams up here and see how the lights are there. So there's some different variations on this. Some are better than others. That looks like a photograph right there. I know a lot of people like to colorize old photos. And I think what you do have to recognize with this is that this isn't the same as colorizing with Photoshop. It's going to add a lot of artistic interpretation into it. So you can use this method to colorize old photographs, but they may not be that faithful to the original. So I'm going to give another example here. This is a picture of St. Peter Port in Guernsey, which is where I'm from, but this picture was obviously taken long before my time. I'm not quite that old. And I'm going to try and recolorize this. So I'm going to say, let's see, photograph of a Guernsey harbour scene. And if you're struggling to describe an image, you can just click this suggest prompt and it will give you a detailed description of the picture. It's not always super accurate, so this is not St. Ives, it is St. Peter Port. And I think I'm just going to describe it myself. Harbour scene of St. Peter Port, Guernsey, with blue seas on a sunny day and colourful buildings. High resolution postcard photograph. Oh, and I got to make sure I'm in retexture. That's an easy mistake, going back and forth between edit and retexture. I do that quite a lot. So let's see how this looks. Actually, that's a really beautiful image. So we've taken this old photograph here with the rickety railing, and there we go. It's got some little boats at the front. You can see it's taken those boats and it's coloured those in. So you have a few different options here. I think I confused it with postcard. So I can actually just take out postcard and say high resolution photograph. Okay, and that looks a little bit more photographic. Now, I know that's not really how that church looks though. So I think anyone actually from Guernsey might have a problem with this picture because that's not really what the church looked like. But it is still a really beautiful picture. But imagine the possibilities. If you've written a book, you could use this to create scenery for your book. You could take an old public domain picture of somewhere that's kind of in the world of your book and turn it into a colorized image. You could use this for a board game, for a video game, for a video. You could put this into Runway and create a video from it. And as Midjourney continues to improve, and as hopefully we get video with Midjourney, you're going to see more and more potential to use images. And another thing I wanted to show you quickly is that actually Midjourney understands jigsaw puzzles. So I had an outline of a jigsaw that I created in Tangent templates, very similar to the Crystal Grid, just a black outline of a jigsaw on a white background. And Midjourney filled in the details for me. The jigsaw puzzle is a photograph of a German Shepherd dog. And I did one here with a house. This one's a bit messy. It tried to put more jigsaw pieces in, but this one actually worked really well. And again, basically retexturing takes the outlines or the structure of your image and then tries to fill in the details. So I thought that looked really cool. And I'll show you a couple more examples from Tangent templates. So another thing I did was I took the hexagon paper and I actually made the grid black and up the thickness on that. There we go. I'm making that a little bit thicker. And then I downloaded it. And you do want to download from the download button so you can make sure it's the regular JPEG. You don't want a transparent background because that won't work so well. And I have a few other images here from Tangent templates. So like these guys, these are just the images here from the monsters and robots here. There you go. Robots and monsters. So I just took 2 of those. And I've got the honeycomb there, and I took some snowflakes, and these 2 are from TT Images. There's a whole folder of snowflakes. There we go. So I put some of those on the page, and I want to show you what Midjourney did with those. So I took that Hex Grid design and put that into Midjourney. I even got this picture with bees. So I did Hex Grid with honey theme, graphic illustration of bees drawn by a skilled artist. Some of the bees are a little bit blobby and wobbly, but no biggie, we could fix those. And then check this out. It looks like a board game right there. So you could create board game grids. The possibilities are absolutely endless. And then these little robots from Tangent templates, look what I did with them. How cute is that? So I did colorful robot characters, crisp, clean animation frame, modern manga. And that was the image I got. And then I got some other really, really sweet designs here. And I loved this one. And I feel like you could take that as a style reference and create a whole little world around these guys. And then some of these actually look like toys as well. Like those, they look like little robots that you might see in a toy store. These are some posters just from that outline. So you could add text to this. I thought this was really fun to create a sort of mixtape vibe. And these sugar skulls, so the sugar skull here, another TT image, I turned this into a cookie. How cute is that? And then these plain snowflakes, check it out. These would make really gorgeous Christmas cards. So here's a bunch of variations I tried, which I think could be perfect for a Christmas card. Oh, and here's one other thing I tried with the sugar skulls. Check it out. It's a tattoo design. And people actually do sell tattoo templates on Etsy and other websites as well. And I just took that image from Tangent Templates. And while we're talking about Tangent Templates, another thing you can do with TT is create a mockup. So you just go to Quick Mockup under More Tools, and then you can upload a cover. So here's a picture from one of my planners. It's a really big picture. I'm just going to stretch that out so we have the whole picture, and I'm going to say crop front cover. This is a mockup of our book. So I'm going to up the amount of pages in it so it looks a little more like a book. And I'm going to rotate it. And I also want a little bit of shadow behind it. I'm going to make the shadow black, in fact. And now I'm going to save that image. And there we go. There is our mockup in Midjourney. Now what I can do is use the edit tool here to actually create a mockup around it. So I'm going to do that. First, I'm going to change the aspect ratio there and make it landscape. And I'm going to use Move Resize to put the book over there. And then we're going to prompt this. And hopefully what it's going to do is fill in all the space around the book. So we're not retexturing, we're using the edit tool, and we're going to fill in all this space. So we're going to say top-down view of green book on desktop. There is a latte with latte art beside it, and a small pot of flowers. The background is a plain office desk, colors of beige and brown. And look at that. That is just a gorgeous mock-up of our book on a table with a latte and a small pot of flowers. And you may want to edit this a bit because it's a little bit misleading. That spine is definitely misleading. So what I would do is actually just erase the edge and then just try doing book spine a couple of times, and it will give you a cleaner spine. But this is pretty stunning. It's a pretty cool way to generate some mock-up ideas that you can use to promote your book. And the reason we use edit is because we don't want this art to change. We want everything around it to change, but we don't want the cover art to change. So there are other ways to create mock-ups. For example, you can just prompt for an office desk and say top-down view of a desk with a latte and a small pot of flowers. And then what you can do is just collage in the image of the book afterwards, either in Tangent Templates or in whatever designer tool you like to use. However, what is nice about doing it this way is I have noticed that the colors really complement the book that you have used. So you can see, even though I said beige and brown, and I did that for a reason. I said beige and brown because otherwise you get a lot of green in the image. It really tries to match those colors. But I also think that's an advantage because everything is kind of color coordinated. And so you can get some really pretty images doing this. And this is something really fun I found when I was creating an idea for a children's book. So this is a photograph I generated in Midjourney, supposedly of a Whole Foods grocery store. But watch this. If you go to the editor and you do open in full editor, something really neat you can try is to change the style or even the time period of the image. So I'm going to select retexture. And I'm going to say children's book illustration, colored line art, featuring a medieval market with produce stalls and people in medieval clothing shopping. And take a look at that. Isn't that cool? It just changed this from being a Whole Foods photograph to being a medieval market. And you can see how it still keeps the structure, like those shoppers are still there. And you've got a little cart there and a little cart there, and it's all wooden instead of being like the type of shopping cart you see there. I think this is an absolutely mind-blowing demonstration of AI, that it can literally map a medieval scene onto a picture of Whole Foods. And you could use this as a style reference so that your book is consistent and has consistent illustrations throughout. So I promised I was going to talk about faces, and this is something that's a little bit of a drawback with Midjourney at the moment, but as I say, there are some workarounds. So if I upload a picture of my face like this, I can retexture it. So I could say, illustration of a woman with maroon hair wearing a black dress and smiling. Oh no, that's not me. And that's not me. Maybe. No, it's not me. None of these pictures look like me. They deliberately changed the face so that I look like someone else. But interestingly, they kind of kept the hair and kept my clothes. We have some options. There are ways to work with this. And the first one is simply using the editor. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, go back to this image, and I'm going to change the aspect ratio and make it a portrait image because I want a little bit more room to work with. So we're going to move and resize that image there. And then what I'm going to do is erase almost everything. I'm just going to zoom around here and zoom around there. And I'm just going to leave my face in. So I'm taking out quite a lot there. And I'm going to leave a bit of my hair in because I like my hair. So I'm taking out a lot there and leaving in most of my face. And so now what I can do is say, photograph of woman with maroon hair wearing business attire, standing outside a modern office, professional headshot. Hey, that's not bad. I like that. I got big hair. That one's not too bad. Colourful pajamas and cat ears. So actually, that's probably a bit more me. I'm not really cut out for the corporate lifestyle, but if I was, that definitely could be me. And one thing I have noticed, though, is that it does tend to make bodies very, very thin. So I often use like plus size just so it's a little bit more realistic. I do have another workaround, though. So if we take one of these illustrations, for example, like this one, I'm going to download this. There is a tool called Insight Face Swap, and I've talked about it on this channel before. So there is another video on this channel about how to create consistent characters. And in that, I do demonstrate Insight Face Swap, and it's free. At least you get a certain amount of credits for free that you can play with. So I do like using Insight Face Swap, and you can see an example here where I generated this image of a detective, and then I face swapped in my face. I think that looks pretty good. I think that does look like me. It's recognizable. So I'm going to show you how that works with the illustration we just created. Now I'm working in Discord, but there's also a web version of this now called pixie.ai. And I've just uploaded this image, and all I'm going to do is right click and go in Swapper. And it already has access to a photograph of me, so it knows how I look. There we go. It's put my face back in, so it looks like me again. Yay! Now, there are also several dedicated headshot tools, and I know my friend Rebecca showed me some really good results she got with a tool called Artflow, so there are a lot of other options out there if you're specifically looking to create headshots or professional photographs of yourself. But I really like Insight Face Swap, and what I love about it is how well it adapts to the style of the image you're creating. So it looks very natural in the image. Now, there is a bit of an exception for celebrities. Midjourney is very well trained on celebrities, on famous artworks. So if you put the Mona Lisa, it knows very well what the Mona Lisa looks like. I wanted to make a meme about Carl Sagan, big fan of Carl Sagan, and I didn't actually have to use face swap. So what I did was I used this photograph, and what I did was I first of all changed the aspect ratio and then did move resize and put him over here because I want room to put in the text of the meme. So I'm just going to say galaxy background because I don't really care what it fills it with. Great. So now I have the structure of my image. And remember, when we retexture, it works off structure. I'm going to go to retexture, illustration of Carl Sagan surrounded by sparkly planets, stars, and galaxies. Beautiful, colorful image. So I quite like that one, and that one's okay. And because it knows who he is, it kind of kept his face. It looks like Carl Sagan, although it changed the expression a little bit. And so this gives you some possibilities. One is that you could edit around this image of him and then change the background. So that's one option. I actually cheated a little bit to make this image though. So if you use Midjourney a lot, you may have been working on tasks, and these tasks let you rank images against each other. And what that does is trains Midjourney to your personal preferences. So I've actually reached level 8, the maximum of personalization, by ranking 10,000 image pairs. That's crazy, but it does two things. First of all, it gives you a whole bunch of free fast hours, so you get lots of extra Midjourney credits. The other thing is it trains Midjourney on your personal preferences. And they are saying that they're going to change this in future, so you can have multiple personalization codes, which is very exciting. It'll be interesting to see what they do with this. But right now, I have spent a lot of time training Midjourney to my preferences. So what I actually did was I did --P at the end of my prompt, and that actually gave it my personalization code. When you hit that, it's actually going to tailor the image to your taste. And I found that I get much better results when I use my personalization. So now you can see I get this beautiful image right here, which I think looks really cool. And this is how I generated this image. So I use my personalization code. And the thing is, if you use your personalization code, then the image will probably look the way you want it to. So for me, my personalization tends to involve lots of lights, little planets, little stars, little extra details. Your personalization code might look quite different because it's based on the images you prefer. But this is a huge benefit to actually taking the time to do those tasks in Midjourney and to train it on images that you like. So there we go. We have visited many worlds in this video. We've looked at carousel horses, we've done crystal grids, we've made my favorite old video game into a beautiful photograph that I absolutely love. And I want to turn this into a jigsaw or something because I want to live in this world. I hope this has been inspiring. I hope it's been helpful. Please do come and join us in our Facebook groups. We have a KDP Facebook group for people who are publishing books and printables. And we also have an AI Facebook group where you would be very welcome to come join us, ask questions, talk about anything you've seen in this video, any questions you have about Midjourney. Remember, we do have $50 off Imagine for Black Friday, and Imagine is absolutely jam-packed with Midjourney goodies. I've just added 2 brand new tutorials, how you can use retexturing for adult coloring books, and also how you can create kawaii, cute coloring books. So do check that out. It's $50 off for Black Friday. And if you've enjoyed this video, please do press like and subscribe so you get notifications whenever we make anything new or have any updates. And also remember to check out my Gumroad. There's all kinds of freebies on there. All right, guys, have a great week. Bye.